Have you ever told everyone about something big you wanted to do? Did you notice what happened next? Sometimes, when we speak too much about our dreams, they become harder to reach. In this video, you'll discover why that happens and what it means for your future. In a small village, there lived a young man named Lucas. He had many ideas and big plans for his life. One week, he wanted to open a woodworking shop. The next, he talked about learning to paint. Then he dreamed of building a beautiful garden. But Lucas had a habit. Before he started anything, he told everyone about it. He stood at the tea shop and spoke about his plans as if they were already happening. People listened, nodded, and said, "That sounds amazing," or "You're going to succeed." And each time, Lucas felt proud, like he had already taken the first step. The feeling was real, even though nothing had begun. But that was the problem. That small wave of approval gave him a sense of completion. When he went home, the urgency was gone. The work felt less necessary. So he delayed. Then delayed again. Without noticing it, Lucas was caught in a quiet loop. He spoke, he felt rewarded, and that feeling replaced the need to act. Months passed, but nothing really changed. The woodworking tools he bought were left covered in dust. His sketches stayed unfinished, stacked in a quiet corner. The piece of land he once talked about turning into a garden remained empty, untouched. Lucas began to notice it too. People stopped asking about his plans. Some smiled less when he spoke. Slowly, he started avoiding those conversations. Inside, a quiet doubt grew. He didn't understand why this kept happening. Every time he felt excited in the beginning, but somehow, he never followed through. One evening, sitting alone, he asked himself a simple but uncomfortable question. Why do I always start, but never finish? Not far from the village, there lived an older man named Rowan. He was a craftsman, known for his wooden work. But unlike Lucas, Rowan rarely spoke about what he was doing. Each day, he worked quietly in his small workshop at the edge of the village. No announcements, no plans shared, no need for attention. Yet, people still came to him. His tables were strong, his chairs carefully made, his work spoke for itself. One day, Lucas passed by and noticed something strange. There was no one, no praise, no noise. Just Rowan, working in silence, and somehow, moving forward every single day. Curious about what made Rowan so different, Lucas came back the next day. This time, he didn't just pass by, he stepped inside. The workshop was quiet, filled with the soft sound of tools and the smell of fresh wood. Rowan didn't say much. He simply worked, focused, steady, as if nothing else mattered. Lucas watched for a while, then finally asked, "How do you keep going without losing motivation?" Rowan paused, looked at him, and didn't answer right away. Instead, he led Lucas into a small, empty room behind the workshop. There, he quietly prepared something. A small metal bowl, a bit of fuel, and a match. Lucas didn't understand yet, but he stayed, watching closely as Rowan lit the first flame. Rowan lit the first flame and placed it in the center of the room. It started small, but steady. Then he walked to the doorway and called a few nearby neighbors who were passing by. Curious, they stepped inside and gathered around to watch. As they moved in, the air shifted with them. The flame began to flicker, stretching and shaking, losing its balance. Within moments, it weakened, and quietly went out. Rowan thanked them for coming and gently asked them to leave. When the room became still again, he lit a second flame. This time, no one entered. No movement, no noise. The fire burned calmly, steady and strong. Lucas stood there, and slowly, he began to understand. Rowan looked at him and said, "When you talk about your plans, people respond. They give you attention, approval, and your mind treats that as progress." He paused. That feeling is similar to actually doing the work. Lucas stayed silent. So your brain thinks you've already moved forward, Roland continued, even when you haven't started. He glanced at the first flame's ashes. You receive the reward too early. And once that happens, your motivation becomes weaker. Lucas lowered his eyes, finally seeing the reason behind his pattern. Lucas stood there in silence, replaying his past choices in his mind. It was never about lack of time or ability. He had been using his energy in the wrong place, talking instead of doing. For the first time, he saw it clearly. That same day, he made a quiet decision. No more sharing plans. No more early words. He would start small, and he would start alone. No one needed to know. The next day, Lucas picked up his tools and began working on a small wooden table. He didn't rush, and he didn't push himself too hard. Just a few steady hours each day. The first cuts were rough, and some pieces didn't fit well. At times, he felt the urge to stop and tell someone about it. But this time, he held it back. No words, just quiet work. Day by day, the table slowly took shape. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for the first time, Lucas felt a kind of progress that didn't need to be shared. When the table was finally finished, Lucas stood and looked at it for a long moment. There was no one around, no applause, no praise. But what he felt was different. It was quiet, but strong. A kind of pride that came from actually doing the work. He didn't feel the need to tell anyone. For the first time, what he made was enough. After that, Lucas kept going. He made another table, then a chair, then a small shelf. He worked a few hours each day, slowly improving. This time, he didn't talk about what he was doing. He only focused on finishing each piece. Over time, people began to notice. Not because he told them, but because the work was there. They saw the change. They saw the results. And without saying much, Lucas earned something he never had before, real respect, built quietly through action. Now, think about yourself. How many times have you talked about a plan, felt proud for a moment, and then stopped? It happens more often than we realize. Dreams are like fire. When you expose them too early, they can lose their strength. But when you protect them, they have a chance to grow. So maybe it's time to change the way you move. Say less. Do more. The world doesn't need to hear your plans. It needs to see what you finish. If this story feels familiar, try something different next time. Keep your next goal to yourself. Let it grow quietly, without pressure or attention. And when it's ready, you won't need to say much. Your work will speak for you. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories that change the way we see life. Thank you for listening.